guys, back with another video. I'm going to talk about the Leica Q today and basically some hidden features that I've used and some people that I know that have the Leica Q have also used. It's been really beneficial for me and for them. They're features that maybe if you have a Leica Q, you don't use them as frequently or you might forget about them. If you're new to the Leica Q, these are some features that you might not know about that will help you to better utilize, the full value of the new camera that you just got. So the first feature I'm going to talk about is the monochrome mode. The Leica Q, just like pretty much every camera, actually can shoot JPEG and it can shoot RAW. When you shoot JPEG, you can actually go into the settings similar to like a Canon camera for the picture style, and you can go in and change the picture style, the sharpness, the contrast, the saturation, things like that. If you go into saturation, you can go to monochrome. Many DSLRs nowadays can do that. The way the monochrome pictures are made in a Canon camera or Leica camera or Nikon is based on the actual image chip inside of the camera itself. So that little computer calculates how much contrast it has, what the contrast looks like at those different settings. So a low contrast Nikon image won't look exactly the same as a Canon. The color science won't be the exact same either. So the way that Leica renders the black and white images on the Leica Q and on their M series cameras and the SL is honestly one of the most beautiful reproductions of black and white that I've ever seen. It really looks like a modern film stock. If that makes any sense, it still has some film qualities. If you bump the ISO up to 1600 or 3200, you definitely get some noise, but the way that Leica's produced the noise, it looks a lot more organic when the picture is in black and white versus like a Canon camera or a Nikon camera. That's just a personal opinion. A lot of people might disagree with that, but I just love the black and white rendition. So what I do is I change my Leica Q to monochrome mode for the JPEGs. So it's capturing a black and white JPEG and it's also capturing a full, color DNG with none of those adjustments done on them. And I do this to kind of use it as like a personal camera. I wanted to start carrying around a film camera, but I don't really have the money to get into a Leica film camera, and processing film is really expensive compared to digital, which is basically free, just costs, electricity. So I basically would just take pictures with the Leica Q when I'm out and about and I'm just kind of doing personal work. I would basically switch it to monochrome mode and then just Wi-Fi transfer them to my phone, minimally edit them and post them online. I started a black and white only page called Monochrome Mode. The link is down below. It's just basically my personal work. I don't really post there that often, but if I'm just out and about and with my family or with friends and I'm not really necessarily taking pictures, I just have my camera with me, those are the photos that end up on that page. Also like photos of my dog and stuff like that, so shout out to Kala. But I highly recommend using this black and white mode if you have a Leica Q or if you have a Leica M. The way that it produces it is just absolutely beautiful, and it's a really simple way of shooting and composing. You're just worrying about tone and not worrying about color at all. So the next feature is my absolute favorite feature that the Leica Q has. So the Leica Q actually has a Evf Electronic Viewfinder. So it has a little bit of lag in low light situations, but it's the most minimal lag in the highest res at the time that it was made. Sony probably has some better EVFs now. With the Evf, it's constantly turning the screen on and off, and the screen will just be on as this keeps hitting your chest while you walk around, and it kind of swings. It turns the screen on and off, and with Leica cameras, similar to the Sony cameras, the battery life is not the best in the world like a Canon camera or a Nikon camera. So to compensate for that, Leica made a mode inside called Evf Extended. Now, if you go in the menus and you change it to Evf Extended Mode, I'll just do it real quick here. But if you go into display settings and go to Evf LCD, you can change it to Evf Extended Mode. And basically what that means is the Evf will always work and the screen won't work unless you press the play button to look at the photos. But that way, when you're walking around the screen isn't on and wasting all that battery, and you actually get a lot more shots out of the camera just by not using live view. You can turn it back on if you need to get like a really low perspective or get a really high perspective, and you can't look through the viewfinder necessarily. Then you can definitely just turn it back on real quick and then turn it off, and it's super seamless. The menus are really intuitive for Leicas. I love how they lay it out. It's really simple and kind of just logical to me. But yeah, definitely a feature I use all the time. I highly recommend using it if you are having some battery issues with your Leica Q. So the next feature is a pretty obvious feature, but not a lot of people realize it's there. Most people who shoot Leica cameras, they shoot, you know, the rangefinder systems. Very few people shoot the like big Leica SLs that have the autofocus and, you know, burst shooting and all that stuff. But most people shoot the rangefinder Leicas, and with the rangefinder Leica, it's a very different manual focusing system versus the autofocus systems that you get with other brand cameras. And with that, the Leica Q actually has autofocus. So the Leica Q autofocus is absolutely incredible. It's super quick. It is contrast based, but it's so fast and so accurate. It's almost like a Canon autofocus. Like it's very reliable when you're out shooting street photography or kind of faster paced stuff where you need to, you know, get a shot off really quick and you can't really set up or have time to plan it out. It works amazingly. One of the features in the autofocus menu is actually autofocus face. So similar to like a Canon camera or like, you know, a phone or a point and shoot camera that has the face detection autofocus, Leica also has this, but it comes in really handy because it only will focus on the face. And if you're shooting street photography and kind of, you know, running in between people and you know, really quickly shooting, you can point it at something, and instead of autofocusing to the element in the foreground, which a lot of cameras will do, it will only look for the shape of faces and focus on the face, which is the subject, which is really what you want in focus and what you want to take a picture of. So a lot of cameras with, you know, if you just leave them on every point enabled on the autofocus, it'll grab the foreground element or it'll grab the background element, and it'll miss that person right in the middle, that person that you're trying to focus on. So this just becomes super helpful when you're shooting street photography as well, and I highly recommend using it. So another feature that is enabled when you get the Leica Q is the focus peaking combined with the magnification of the screen. So in the EVF, when you're focusing the camera, you'll get a magnified view. I think it's like 5 times. And then when you're moving the focus, you'll actually see red or yellow or green or white or blue or whatever color you set in the menu. Say you're focusing on grass, you obviously wouldn't want it to be green, maybe switch to red. But if you were taking like a portrait under like a red light, then obviously you'd want to switch to white or to green or something else that you can see easier in the frame. But for people who haven't manual focused very often, this is a lifesaver. It really helps people that are just starting to learn that manual focus process and spot focusing and stuff like that. It helps expedite that process a little bit and make it a little bit easier for them. I think that's why Leica put an EVF and autofocus in the Leica Q versus just having the traditional rangefinder focusing system, is just because it's more a consumer thing and less a professional thing. More hobbyists and people that aren't, you know, very proficient in the technical aspects of shooting can pick up that camera and use it and still get great shots that they're really pleased with without like a huge learning curve. So I really like that. I wish I had a rangefinder focusing system in it, but I'm probably one of those rare people that has the Q that wants it to be more like an M. Definitely an awesome feature, and check it out if you have the Q. So the last feature I'm going to talk about today is the macro mode. So this is also a feature that's pretty obvious if you have the Leica Q, but when I'm out shooting, I always forget that I have macro mode, and I don't use it as often as I want to use it. Whenever I get in a creative rut and I can't really create anything that I'm pleased with, I will switch the style of shooting. So I'll go from street photography to landscape, or landscape to portrait, or portrait to more like macro detail shots and stuff like that. So it's always a nice feature to have. You can get really close to objects with the macro mode. It's awesome. It gives you a really different perspective, and you know, if you're kind of in a creative rut and you're not really coming up with stuff, it's a great way to kind of change your perspective immediately, literally, and force you to create brand new perspectives that you might not have thought of when you weren't shooting in the macro mode. I love the macro mode, and I try to shoot it, but like I said, it's something that you forget is there a lot, so I often forget it's there, and I need to, you know, be more diligent about pushing myself to shoot the macro mode and use it more, because it is built into the camera, so I did pay for it technically. Hope you guys like this video. Hope these tips are helpful for you if you're thinking about buying a Leica Q and you didn't know what specific features it had that are kind of, you know, more useful features for that style of shooting, like street photography. I hope this really helped you out. If you're new to a Q, you know, welcome, and I hope you like the camera, and I hope that you found some benefit with these hidden features. So as always, links are down below for my site. I sell prints on there, my portfolio's on there, my Instagram is down below, my personal Instagram is down below. Thanks for watching this video. I always appreciate it. Thanks for leaving comments. My last Leica video, I got way more views than I ever thought I was gonna get. I got a bunch of new subscribers, so to all the new subscribers, welcome. My name is Tyler, and I make videos about photography and filmmaking, and I'm just about to start a short film, so I'm excited to take you guys along that ride as well, and show you a little bit of the filmmaking process as well as the photography stuff. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace.